minute, in a second. Okay, we're live. Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. GM to everyone, wherever you're watching from.
Morning, guys.
GM. Yeah. Hope everyone is enjoying the current state of the markets. We were unable to do this live stream on Friday. We were unable to do it on Friday. So we've been consistent for over a month now, but Friday we couldn't because of Cloudflare was actually down. And based on that, StreamYard, the platform we use this live stream, was equally down for more than 30 minutes. So we are unable to, but yeah, we're back. Hopefully Cloudflare doesn't mess things up again. Yeah, so GM to everyone, let us know where you're streaming from, where you're watching us from. Drop your questions as usual, whatever you want us to talk about or look at. And drop it, I would attend to those questions. So we have some exciting stuff we'll be sharing today. But as usual, let's start with them looking at the markets. Spencer, what do you think is happening? BTC is slightly above 91K. What are you expecting? The last time we were live here, BTC was still around the same price, 92K. Last time,
yeah.
92K. And I think Friday we dumped on Friday. As anticipated, we dumped Friday. Weekend we were down, but from yesterday, just like we anticipated on the clubhouse yesterday, we saw a bump coming into Monday. We saw a bump from 80-something K all the way to almost 92. So what do you think? What are you expecting?
Yeah, so we've talked about this cycle, which is Fridays we get a retrace, and Mondays
Sunday into Mondays.
Yeah. So that's what is playing out, because like you said, on Thursday we were almost at the same price that we are now, but at that price we saw alts facing resistance. Alts have pumped, the likes of Sura, Gigo, etc. They've pumped and they were in good gains, maybe 30%, 40%, even 50% gains.
Yeah.
But now that we saw that retrace on Saturday, now we are getting the pump on Monday, but these alt hasn't actually moved yet. At least most of them hasn't actually moved as much, when you compare to the price they were on Thursday. Okay, so maybe if Bitcoin sustains this price, we could probably get some of them maybe towards Wednesday or even Thursday again. We might see most of them at almost the same price that they were last week Thursday. So yeah, that's this market, like we said in our clubhouse yesterday. This market is favorable for scalpers. So if you're scalping, it's a fantastic market.
Yeah, it's really good. And for those that have been consistent, please, if you're just joining, feel free, wherever you're watching from, share the link, like, retweet, and invite anyone you want to. Yeah, for those that have been following most of the stuff we've been doing for over a month now, you will notice something has been very consistent. Like I always say, at least 6, 7 out of 10 times. If you notice the cycle of Thursday, Friday, market is dumping, Sunday into Monday, market is pumping. You'll notice that has been very much consistent. And if you've been following that and trying to apply that to your trading strategy, you'll notice that you would have been making some good profit, like consistently. In terms of scalping, most importantly, scalping, you'll notice that you've been making some really, really good profits. So let's look at some of the altcoins, how they've performed within the last 24 hours. We can see lots of green. So it shows that yes, the market has pumped from yesterday to today, but I won't be spending so much time here. But yeah, if you zoom out to the monthly, you'll notice most alts are still very down. If you zoom out monthly, you'll notice that overall, if you got into the market this time last month, you're still in the loss. That's just basically what it means, because most of the alts are still very, very down. And we can see like Beats that has done 10x, YFI that has done 31%, PEEP, just a few altcoins that have done maybe some reasonable gain, barely a handful. But overall, within the last 30 days, the market has been brutal. So if you invested 30 days ago, you'll still be in a loss. Whereas in the last 1 week, if you invested last week, this week you'll be in profit, obviously. So what this shows you is it just gives you perspective to understand that the market is like gradually recovering. Like that's just what it's telling you. The market is gradually recovering, and it will still take some time. Maybe by January, you might now start seeing that if you had invested a month ago, you'll be in profit. Overall, if you invested a year ago, you're still in loss. Overall, you're still actually in a loss. So let's look at the news briefly. If there's any exciting thing in the news, after which we'll proceed to some trades that we are actively taking, and I'll share some strategy that I used within the last 1 week to make some really good profits. I said it on Clubhouse yesterday that I'll share that today in the live stream. Actually, she said it, so I would actually share that today. So for those watching, feel free, share, invite anyone you want to. If you're watching from Twitter, you can repost or quote. If you're on YouTube, you can share the link and invite anyone. Yeah, so let's look at the news. So do we have any exciting stuff here? Bitcoin price dips below, and just straight to the hot news. Now, if you notice, Trump has actually he has recommended someone for the new SEC job, which I think that news dropped yesterday evening. I feel that's also one of the catalysts that made the market still pump back from 89, because we went above 91 and we came back again to about 89 then before moving up. I feel that also did bring in some like positive momentum in the market. I feel so. So I'll be very excited to see how that plays out. Besides that, I can't really see any very exciting news here. Not really seeing much of that, basically. Overall, my sentiment stays the same. Overall, I'm still very bullish about what's happening in this market. I'm still very bullish. So let's talk about some projects on CoinGecko. Let's talk about some projects on CoinGecko that we're actively trading. And one of those projects you guys already know, Sora. So I'll get back to AR about the strategy I was talking about. I'll get back to it briefly. So we can see Sora Oracle, which we've been swinging it a lot. Yesterday it was at 2.7 during the Clubhouse, which we actually stated it, and after which it bumped to about 3.3 giving like a decent 15%. Me, I'm still holding the trade though. I'm still holding because most times I target 25% and above. That's what I hope my screen is visible, please, just to be certain.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
My screen is visible. It's visible, right? Just to be certain.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Yeah, so let me switch to the AR just to explain this because of time before we look at the charts and some other stuff. So we have been talking about this ARIO for a while. Now, aside the fact that it's been very good to accumulate and all of that long term, it's at a very good price. It has presented lots of opportunities for the following. Please feel free to invite anyone you want to invite. It has presented lots of opportunities for the following: swing trading, arbitrage, majorly I think swing, arbitrage, and also accumulate for long term if you're accumulating long term, because it's a very cheap price right now. But most importantly, the most important opportunity it has provided. I don't know why my camera is lagging though. I'm trying to notice it. Okay. The most important opportunity it has presented is 1, for swing, 2, for arbitrage. Accumulation for long term, that takes time. But currently, the most important, swing, and arbitrage. So I'll be explaining to you guys how, because personally I've leveraged on that like from last week till date. I've made very, very good money from it from last week till date, leveraging on its swing opportunity and arbitrage opportunity. So I will share my screen now to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Good. So now this is the project, ARIO. Now, if you look at this ARI, the price is at 5 point something million. FDV, right, is at 5 point something. So it is currently listed on 3 exchanges. 3 exchanges. We go to CoinGecko. Now, if you notice something, you can see the prices for these 3 exchanges. At Gates, it's at 5.8 M FDV. At Bioeconomy, it's at 4 M FDV. At LBank, is at 7.4 M. Now, truthfully, if you go to these exchanges, you'll find out that it's not exactly what you're seeing here, because this price is not updating per minute or per second. It takes some time. If you go to the exchanges, you find out it's close to this, or it's not exactly the same. So what's the catch here now? There's a pattern that we noticed, I think 2 weeks ago, when ARIO dropped an update that they'll be making the token available on Base and they'll be listing on LBank. Something happened. There was little liquidity on Gate. Then it wasn't on Bioeconomy or LBank. There was very little liquidity on Gate. So I explained that last 2 weeks, I think. It pumped from about 4M, that's 0.004, to about 33, 34M. And that pump lasted, like it stayed at that price for approximately 40 minutes. It stayed above 25M for approximately 40 minutes before it started dumping, and it went back to about 4, 5M again. Now that was the first pump that happened. As at then, there was no opportunity for arbitrage. Now, when it listed on LBank, it dumped to about 2M FDV. Then the following day, that's within 24, 36 hours of listing on LBank, first it dumped to 2M, then the following day it bumped to almost 40M. You get now, that day it bumped, there was a huge opportunity that was available. Usually what some exchanges do is they'll disable withdrawal and deposits to limit or stop people from doing arbitrage or benefiting from arbitrage. But to my greatest surprise, Gates allowed withdrawal of ARIO. They allowed it. LBank allowed deposits. The price on LBank, as at 10 o'clock at night, 10, 11 on that day, the price was playing between 18M and 20 something M. It got above 30M, but it stayed there for maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. But it stayed between 18M and over 20M, ranging between 18 and like 28M for a very long time, like more than an hour. And at that same time, on Gate, it was barely able to go above 9 million. For Gate, it was ranging between 7 and 8 point something. Whereas for LBank, it was ranging between 18 million and 20 something million. And like I said, you could withdraw from here and deposit here. It was allowed. Same way you could withdraw from here and deposit here. So they didn't stop deposits or withdrawal. They did not stop it. So that presented a huge opportunity. I said, I tried it first. I decided to withdraw from here to here. And within about 35, 40 minutes, it dropped. So that was like the first. I did it like a couple of times and it worked well before the price was now able to stabilize. Because most times it's the people doing this arbitrage that are pulling out from here, selling at the other exchange. They are the ones that crash down the price. Not really crash. They are the ones that make those prices to achieve like a very stable price on different exchanges where the difference might be very, very tiny. They are the ones that actually do that. But in this case, I was among those that were doing that kind of stuff. Withdrawing from Gate and depositing from LBank. Within about 30 to 40 minutes, it drops and you sell higher. So you buy lower here. As at that day, I was buying here at 7.8 or 8M. I was not being greedy. I was just targeting to sell here at 15M. So what I was doing was this. Once I buy here, I withdraw. Once I get to LBank, I go to the order book. I go to the order book on L Bank. As at then, you see the person that wants to buy here, the lowest will be like 15M FDV, that's 0.015. That's what you'll be seeing. So I just click the highest here and I sell, because where I bought from, I bought at roughly 8 point something. So where I was buying, if you come here, these are the sellers. I will just go to Gate and click the most price that they want to sell, the cheapest price they want to sell. Then it will be 7 point or 8 point. I just buy it. I withdraw to L Bank and I sell it very fast. Just repeat, same process until that opportunity was totally used up and the price achieved parity. Now let's fast forward to today. There's still, that opportunity still exists today. It still exists today. So let me explain how, because I still did it this morning. Like this morning before joining, I spent almost 30 minutes doing that. Then before I now noticed some changes. So this morning, as I woke up, I checked the price. Oh, I even thought you guys were seeing my screen because I switched to L Bank. Okay, let me just stop this screen share and show my L Bank screen on the other, so you guys can see it. So I'm sharing L Bank screen so you can see something. Then after which I'll share Gate.io, because I thought you guys were seeing my screen as I was explaining. Okay, so this is my L Bank screen. Hope it is visible. I'm not logged in, by the way. So now, if you notice, what I was doing is by the time I buy from Gate.io and I withdraw, I just come to the L Bank. And as at then, on that day, last week, you see the person that wants to sell. These are sellers on the order book. You go to order book. These are sellers. These are buyers. Green, these are buyers. These are sellers. This is the lowest price that they want to sell. This is the total available orders that they want to sell, something thousand, which this should be roughly $300, I guess. These are those that want to buy. This is the highest amount they want to buy. Yet now, if I want to suck the liquidity like really fast to fill all my orders, I can just like group the orders. I can group them. But the issue is if I group them sometimes, I might buy at a very expensive price. So some other time, I might choose to take it out one by one. I clear this one, I clear this one, I clear this one, I clear this one, till I get to where I don't want to go above. So I won't want to go above this. Okay, I won't want to go above this. So then, once I get here, it was selling. L Bank was for selling. Gate was for buying. So immediately I get here, I sell to the highest here, which as at then it was 15, 16M. I just sell. After which I go back to Gate and I buy. Now for Gate, let me share my Gate screen briefly. For Gate.io, what I do is, hope you can see my screen. For Gate.io, what I do is I just go straight to the sellers. So for Gate, I'm focusing on the sellers. I'm buying. Then for L Bank, I'm selling. Now, this opportunity still exists even till today. But the difference now is today, the profit margin is about 30% to about 40%. The opportunity still exists even till today. Yesterday, it wasn't there, but from this morning it started coming up again. So sometimes it disappears because the prices on different exchanges will be almost the same. But today, the opportunity is back. This morning, I've done it a couple of times. Now, how is it back and how can you leverage on it? First, because of I noticed the pattern that it pumped first on Gate, then after which they listed on L Bank and it pumped similar, I just made sure to have ARIO on Gate and also on L Bank. So I'm not holding everything on Gate and I'm not holding everything on L Bank. That's how you benefit from arbitrage. Now, why I did that is in case they want to stop you from round tripping. Not round tripping is not the right word. In case they want to stop you from rotating the capital, like you use, let's say, $1,000, you buy from L Bank, send to Gate, you sell, you convert it to USDT, you send back again to the other exchange and repeat the process. In case they want to stop you from doing that, you get. In order to avoid that, you want to make sure you have the assets, which in this case, ARIO, on 2 exchanges. So fast forward to today, I saw that the price on Gate was almost 6 million, 0.058. You get almost 6 million. Whereas the price on L Bank this was as at an hour ago or thereabouts. The price on L Bank was at 3.5 M. The price on L Bank, you can check this stuff when you look at the chart. The price on L Bank was at 3.5 M. So for me, it was very simple, and I had some that I was holding on Gate. In fact, I held the most quantity, about 65% on Gate. So what I just did, I sold off. I withdrew everything I had on Gate, all of the ARIO on Gate. I withdrew it to L Bank. Oh, sorry, that's not it. I sold off all the ARIO I had on Gate. I sold it off at about 58. That's 5.8 M. I sold it off. Then I withdrew the USDT to L Bank, and I started buying at L Bank from 0.0033. You get, so sold off at 5.8 M, bought back at 3.3, 3.4, 3.5 M. I don't know if that makes sense. So now you would notice that if you sold 1 million ARIO, if that was what you sold, and that 1 million ARIO you sold gave you, let me just use random figures, approximately $1,000. You find out that when you send that $1,000 to L Bank, you would use probably $550 or higher $600 to buy back the same 1 million ARIO you just sold at Gate. Now, the sweetest part now is you now send back that 1 million ARIO you just bought to Gate and repeat the same process. Offload it, sell it, send the USDT to L Bank, buy, repeat. But today, Gate.io disabled deposits of ARIO. You understand? So I've been able to buy back almost times 2 of what I sold on L Bank. But the challenge now is you can't send to Gate because of what? ARIO deposit has been paused. They are doing maintenance or whatever. That's what they are doing. Now, what you need to do is one of two things. Either you just take your profit, or you wait for when they would enable it. Sometimes they can enable it in the next 1 hour or 2 hours. They can do that, after which you quickly deposit and continue with the whole cycling process. You understand? That is actually what you can do. So now this is leveraging on Gate.io and L Bank. Now to the next part of this opportunity, which is leveraging on another exchange that just listed. I want to share CoinGecko that just listed ARIO, that is Biconomy. Funny enough, I never had Biconomy account, so because of this, I had to go and create Biconomy account. I don't use the exchange. I never had the account. So I had to create the account last week when I saw that it had listed on Biconomy, but there was no liquidity then on the exchange. So I created it, but from today, I started leveraging on it. So I went to Biconomy to check if they now have orders this morning. And I noticed that I can't open Biconomy here because of you need VPN to access it. I noticed that they had it and the price was cheaper than what you have on my screen. If you go to Biconomy site and check, as at 2 hours ago, so it was cheaper than what's on the screen here. It was at 0.0034. That's where it was at. So I bought some of those sell orders for ARIO on 0.0034 and 35. That's where I bought. Now I think the cheapest sell order DNR should be 0.005. I think so. That should be the cheapest. It should be 0.005. Whereas on L Bank, you can still get ARIO cheaper than you can on Gate. So I hope what I'm explaining is kind of clear. Now, my expectation for Biconomy is simple. I'm expecting that there would also be like a minor price surge here. There's a possibility for that on Biconomy. There should be a minor price surge because the liquidity there is very, very thin. So should there be a tiny FUMO on ARIO and people are trying to buy it there, as I checked their order book, they have barely $1,200 worth of sell orders from the current price up till 22 million. They have barely $1,200. So imagine you go and place a $3,000 sell order for ARIO at 21M or 22M. you can actually make some insane profit. Like you can easily make 500% profit. That's the same thing that happened that I did on L Bank. And that's the same thing too that happened on Gates. So the same thing can still happen on Bioeconomy. It's very, very possible. Now, this is aside the arbitrage opportunity. This is taking advantage of the thin order book. So like I always say, there are lots of ways you can make money in this ecosystem. There are lots of ways. There are multiple ways. You just have to be at the top of your game. You need to actually pay attention. We could have done the same thing with Iron Bank, but I wasn't just so focused on the Iron Bank arbitrage, because for Iron Bank last month, it's a similar thing Iron Bank was doing. Iron Bank was far cheaper on MXC and it was more expensive on Gates. The difference was as much, some days 30%, some days 40%. That thing happened for like close to a week for Iron Bank. But the only challenge I had with the Iron Bank is I didn't have exposure to it on Gates. So it's majorly MXC. Then secondly, the few times I tried to withdrawal was suspended. It was actually suspended, so it was kind of like difficult. I didn't have the time to be tracking it when they were enable withdrawal. Sometimes they enable it late at night. Yeah, so but if you have that time to actually track it, then that is good. But if I had my Iron Bank on Gates, I would have massively leveraged on it. How do I mean? I would have just sold off at I think it was almost close to 80 cents on Gates. I think so, almost close to 80 cents. Whereas on MX it was high as 50 cents. I would have sold off on Gates, and the USDT I would have sent it to MXC, and I would have bought it at 0.5 or 0.45 on MXC. So thus I would have made profits. And I know that thing played out for like a week, but I just wasn't so interested in just taking advantage of it for some weird reasons, probably because I was very busy that period. But yeah, these are like some ways that you can capitalize on this. And these are not the only projects that these things happen to. It happened to some other projects too. But most times you need to like be looking before you can see it. If you're not looking, you're not searching, it can be happening right in front of you. You will not even know. So I would encourage everyone, take advantage of this ARIO opportunity. Very, very important that you can actually take advantage of it. I also tried to see if I can withdraw from AO Chain itself, because I noticed it was cheaper on AO Chain. ARIO. On the day it was 18 million on L Bank. I noticed it was still at 2 point something M on the AR chain. That's AO Chain. But the challenge was that chain is just so slow to buy it from that chain and withdraw it. It was so slow, so I just left it. I didn't have that patience. But there are people that would have still continued and they would have been able to still purchase it and withdraw. Some persons, they have the time and the patience. Me, I just like to focus on Gates L Bank, and that was fluid and it saved me lots of time until I actually stopped and slept off. So you can still leverage on the same thing now. If you have your ARIO Gates, if you're watching this now, you have it on Gates, you can actually go and sell it now on Gates, withdraw the money to L Bank and buy it. That same amount you sold on Gates, you find out that you buy almost 140%, like you buy almost 30% extra. So if you sold off 1 million, you find out that with that same amount, you'll be able to buy about 1.3 million or 1.4 million of the same ARIO on L Bank. Like right now, if you try it, you notice that. So you can actually do that like now. If your strategy is to maintain the exact figure, let's say 2 million ARIO, then the difference will be like your profits. Meaning if you sell that 2 million ARIO for $3,000 on Gates and you send the money to L Bank, you might buy back that same 2 million with barely 70% of that total capital. So the remaining $900 or whatever becomes like a profit. But if you want to accumulate more, you can use the entire money to buy. So thus your holding overall will be increased. However, it's a win. So I hope what I explained makes sense and people got what I actually explained. I stopped showing my screen for someone that's saying, okay, I stopped sharing the screen. So let's move on to some other things. Space, I don't know if you have something else to share before we switch to the chat. I'm about to share my screen now for the chat.
And nothing much, we don't usually talk much about arbitrage opportunities. So it's something that is always there. Like you said, you just have to look for it in order to find it. So, it's also good that you brought it up so that people know that there are other ways to make profit aside when price go up. You can also have arbitrage opportunities. So you just need to know what you're doing and what you're looking out for.
Yes, yes, exactly. Most persons are unaware that you can actually leverage on arbitrage. Most times, there are even more opportunities in arbitrage that people might notice without we talking about it. As long as the token is listed on multiple exchanges, and most times too, when liquidity is low on certain exchanges, that presents arbitrage opportunities. And some exchanges that don't have market makers, also very good. That is why some tokens they have market makers. Those market makers help to like eliminate arbitrage opportunities. That's basically one of the major things that they help to do. But for projects that don't have it, you tend to see opportunities like this. And if you know what you're doing, trust me, you'll make some real good money. Like me myself, when I looked at my L bank, I was like, how come the value of my ARIO is now this high? Again, before my head had to put, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I did, this is what I did. Like, so I checked it, I was like, wow. Because most times you won't notice how much value this thing can add to your portfolio. You would not notice until when you've started doing it repeatedly. That's when you might now start to like observe and notice some of those things. And mind you, the price hasn't even come up. The price is still around 4 point something M. So when the price comes up to like 6M or thereabouts, the value will be even much more than it is already. So looking at BTC charts, let's look at Bitcoin, what to expect from the chart. So yesterday during Clubhouse, when we were having that Clubhouse, BTC was at 88K. That was when it just wicked while we were on that Clubhouse. It wicked all the way down. So, okay, this was the week. It wicked all the way down to this point during that Clubhouse. It's about 87K. Yeah, and I said it's that we have filled the gap. If you guys go back and watch Thursday live stream, we were somewhere around here on Thursday, and there was something I made very clear that there's every tendency for BTC to come and fill this whole stuff is disturbing. For BTC to come and fill this gap here, this one, I was saying it that Thursday that that tendency is there for us to come down and feel this, and also for us to correct all the way down to this point to fill this gap we have here too. I think somebody was asking what's the meaning of gap, which I said a video drop on Sasomi's YouTube page explaining some of those things. So we saw that happen Friday, Saturday. BTC dumped all the way till Sunday, and it filled this gap. And during the Sunday Clubhouse, I said it that we filled that gap. So now the coast is clear for us to try to like go back up and retest the previous resistance that BTC was still facing there. Yeah, so we saw that these were like some scalping trades that I just took. This was the last one. Took this one, I think, almost 12 a.m. midnight. This last one, I slept off. I woke up this morning to notice that that was actually hit TP this morning when I woke up. So what are we expecting currently, looking at the chart? So if you look at some of these lines we drew, we have this box here, which is where BTC is gradually getting back into. I said it on Wednesday last week after we saw that huge bump that if you notice, we haven't still been able to totally clear that zone. Like we haven't been able to clear it. So this purple line that was drawn, the last major higher low we had before crashing down, going all the way down, we haven't been able to clear this. So as long as we have not been able to clear this, yes, we saw a week or it closed below. As long as we have not been able to clear that, you can't say for certain that we're all bullish and going all the way back up. No, you can't say that because looking at the 4 hours chart, there's still a major zone to be cleared, like a very, very major zone to be cleared, which is like this one. That zone is still there. We have been unable to clear it. We've bounced off close to it about 2 times. Yes, 2 times. And I made it also clear that I don't want to short. Shorting feels a bit risky. So if I'm doing that, it's just be like scam. But for whoever did short the market from here, you would have made good profit. But for me, it was just some scalp I was focused on because I believed any news could be dropped that might just mess things up and send us all the way back. But when we got down to this zone, we filled this whole gap and we got back to this zone. The risk was now very, very minimal. And then there was a clear direction for us to like actually bounce, especially with this rejection we saw here. It is now very, very clear that we should bounce. So what am I expecting? This week is Monday. BTC is moving aggressively to this zone here. I'll be looking for a resistance or a breakout. That's what I'll be waiting for within this zone, a resistance or a breakout. So if BTC goes above this, I'll be expecting to long it based on the retest of this zone. But if it rejects, then it's to hunt for scalp opportunities that will take it back to maybe somewhere around 90K. Let's take it back to somewhere around 90K for another retest again of this position. So for now, that's my bias. There's no clear trade yet. There's no clear setup that can be leveraged on. Nothing really is clear for now. Then for a retrace, I'll be looking at this zone here. Yet I'll be looking at this zone to see if maybe I can take like a continuation trade. It's like the zone I'll be looking at to take like a continuation trade towards the upside. And it all depends on the level of rejection we get here, if it will be aggressive or not. Now for some other trades that have been really good for swings, Gigo, afterwards we'll take questions for a roundup. This Gigo trade that we dropped last week, it's been very good for swings. It's been like really, really good. Good for us back into the trade.
I think we're having problems with SteamYard, so I just hope it's not something too much. So I don't know if you guys can hear me. So chat, if you can hear me, just let me know in the comment section, because it seems like we lost Solomon from the studio. Now, we're looking at the Bitcoin chart. Sorry, I can't share my screen myself, but hopefully this pump we're getting, or this upward trajectory we're getting, is actually sustained, because this is what we need. We spoke about it in our clubhouse. So in the clubhouse, we talked about how this is a market for arbitrage scalpers.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, we lost you at some point.
I didn't know what happened. I was busy speaking and explaining, only for me to notice that my network, I lost network.
Yeah, probably from SteamYard. So I'll just let you continue.
Okay, let me just share my screen. Sorry about that. Please, were you guys still with me when I was talking about the Giggle trade?
At least you probably have to start from there.
Okay, because I was done with that Giggle trade, and I was even talking about Zcash trade opportunity. Oh wow! All right, let me share my screen. Okay, so let's just talk about this before we call it a day. All right, so you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I was talking about seeing trade opportunities for this Giggle trade, which I've actually utilized a few times, about 2 times. So if you guys notice, if you watch previous videos, we drew this line, the resistance point, just at TP1. So if you notice, this trade has been bouncing off at our entry, which our entry is a range. If you look at the original call we dropped, our entry is actually a range, presenting like a scalp opportunity. Basically, if you go to lower time frame, it's a scalp opportunity getting around here. Once it gets here, you set either TP or trading stop loss. It starts going against, takes you out. Repeat again, you get back in around this zone, just like that. I've done that like 2 times, and the trade is still actually valid, still very valid. There's BTC price action from Thursday, Friday through the weekend that has made it stay below this zone. So once that is cleared, this trade should still proceed to our expected targets. The next project I was talking about, I think is Zcash. Yeah, so if you notice, privacy coins, a lot has been happening. Dash has been building aggressively. This Zcash is also very good because it has been respecting its zones very, very well. Like, it's been respecting its zone. So if you notice, it came back to this entry and almost back to TP, but I didn't take this trade again after this last one. So it's actually been respecting the zones we drew. Now it's most likely going to make a run for this resistance here, which will present either a short opportunity or maybe it will give us an opportunity for continuation, break, and retest. But depending on what BTC does, I'll be looking for a continuation trade for this Zcash. Personally, that's what I'll be looking for. So I'll make sure I share the opportunity once I see it in the Telegram. So based on time, we've spent over 40 minutes. Sorry about my network that messed up. Sorry about that. Let's take questions, please. Let's take questions. So, Spencer, you were saying something. Maybe you can round up before I take questions.
Well, nothing much. It's just basically reiterating what we're seeing in the market in terms of support and resistance, because this market is basically favoring scalpers and people trading between ranges. Until Bitcoin breaks this resistance, or the alts break the resistance, then we can now start seeing maybe medium term pumps or people that are trading for the medium term or for the long term make some profit or able to take out their capital. But till then, this market is basically for the scalpers, and it would make sense if more people kind of take advantage of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's jump into questions, basically, because we've spent about 40 minutes here already. So someone is asking them, what's your buyers on H and 4? Which one is H, please? For 4, I think 4 is very good. I'm still holding 4. I think 4 is good for swings. It's really good. And for H, which one is H? I don't know which is H. The good one is any news on Backpack. Yeah, Backpack, the airdrop campaign is still on. They're still farming points. And still on. It hasn't ended yet. And that stuff was supposed to be for 10 months. And it started around May, June. So it should be elapsing by next year, maybe second quarter of next year. That's when it should be elapsing. Is it good to bag ORAI? Well, if you don't have any ORAI bag, I'll say it's at an amazing price. You can actually buy. For me, I'm still waiting. I've explained that before because there's every chance that it can still go lower at maybe 60 cents or 50 cents. Yeah, so I'm actually still waiting. I already have like a huge bag that the value has dropped. So if I'm going to DCA, I want to ensure that at least I'm getting in at the best price. I had bought ORAI before at $1. So if I see that 60 or 50 cents, probably I might DCA again to bring down my overall entry point. But the lowest I've bought ORAI should be 90 something cents. So I will look into DCA, but it should be at a very, very worthy price. And also it should be backed up with certain news from the team. Which brings me to, ORAI said, this is different from LFG. ORAI said they are dropping a trading terminal. That's what they said they are dropping. So they've dropped, I think, 2-3 articles on it. We are yet to know the exact date for that, which is why I'll still maintain what I said. I feel this bringing down the price is very intentional. Most likely, the team wants to use this opportunity to accumulate some cheap ORAI, and they want certain investors to come in at this very, very cheap price, because we're seeing right now the price it was 2022 December after FTX crash. That's when ORAI was this cheap. That's the only time ORAI has been this cheap. And even then, it didn't stay at this level for more than 2 days. It was barely a day or thereabouts. But now this is like the second day that we are below $1. So I'll keep my fingers crossed and I'm still paying attention. Because someone is saying, no, we're not Senior Bank. Okay, and we're done with that. So I think this will be all the questions that we'll be taking for today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to drop it in our channel. Feel free to drop it in our channel. And don't forget, we do this every day, Mondays to Fridays, 10 a.m. in the morning. Questions can be dropped in the channel so that we can respond to those questions. And if you want to contribute or say something on the go, like live, you can do that on either our Clubhouse real time, or you can do it on our Twitter Spaces. Yeah, so thanks guys, and see you guys same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Bye guys.
All right, guys. Bye.